Hey again, welcome back to Old School Moto. And if you're new, welcome. And if you're a subscriber, just thanks for coming back. So I'm just going to do a little brief, quick one here about, because we're talking about budget. Like obviously, if you're fixing up bikes and all that sort of stuff, and you're just starting off, like you haven't got $1 squillion to spend on tools. Specialized tools or anything like that, but you're going to need some things. You're going to need some things to get underway, and I guess as time goes on, you're going to be able to buy better quality, more specialized kind of tooling and stuff. And you want to be buying, like in most cases, like a general kind of tool that is going to work on a lot of things, so a lot of bikes, different bikes and stuff. So when you're looking at things like a case splitter, so a frame that's got bolts on it, you can put on the case and screw up against the shafts and pull the whole case off. There's some really nice stuff out there. I think that I don't know, for me, if this was a commercial thing where you're doing this day in and day out, then I mean you want to have good gear. And when you're just in the garage and you're just tinkering around and stuff, I guess I look at it and think, well, I would rather spend money on other things like quality parts or bits and pieces, rather than having to throw money into tools that I'm not talking about tools that you buy once and throw away. I'm talking about tools that you buy and you can use, ongoing, but they're just not the thing or the best thing. So, and in this case, we're probably talking mostly about, Chinese kind of tools and stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna grab the camera and put it on the stick, and I've got some stuff on the bench. I just want to show you, this is just a basic, some of the things that I've got and used just to get me through, and they'll get me through again and again and again. As time goes on, I will probably buy better tools and like better specialized tools. So yeah, we'll just quickly go through the toolbox drawers and show you what's there, and then I'll show you some of the things that I picked up off eBay and even Temu and what have you. So all right, let's do that. Okay, so what have we got in here? Just a selection of screwdrivers, Phillips head and blade, nothing fancy. Yeah, pretty much nothing fancy, some snips and stuff, but just things that I can use. Again, they do the job. Second drawer, I've just got all my sockets. Yes, it's not all organized and stuff, but I know where they are. 1/2 inch drive, 3/4 inch drive, 1/2 inch drive, and various tools. Pick up a little set. These are just cheap Chinese things, but just tube sockets, ordinary sockets, different kinds of ratchets, T-handles, all that sort of stuff, and a range. So I don't know, like you're going to think that there's a lot of things that might be like 32 mil right down to your 8 mil on most bikes. Alright, next drawer, just got a selection of ring spanners. These are the ones I use the most. They're a Repco brand. They're actually been pretty good. I've had them for quite a few years, and just different sets of spanners. So that's pretty much it. Obviously rubbish, Allen keys and stuff, pliers, electrical pliers, little snips. Good one to have is the circlip pliers, and they swing around and do the opposite. So handy little tool to have. Again, not overly expensive, but I think just things you need to collect. Most important tool in the shed, yeah, amen. Pink hacksaw, wire brushes, hammer. Had this thing for a long time, still works. Just an impact screwdriver. You can put, it's got a head where you can put you put your sockets on it, or you can actually put there's an adapter to it that takes a you know, Phillips head or blade head thing, which is great. Then, you know, I've had to buy some bigger sockets. These are like impact sockets, which will bring me now over to something that I find very handy to have, and it's only a cheap Zito brand, but just a battery powered impact hammer. Sometimes things need a bit of heat on them, so it's good to have just something like that where you can apply a bit of heat to a frozen bolt or whatever, just to free it up. Okay, so this was actually made for me a long time ago, and it's just to remove the flywheel, but it's a flywheel that has the thread inside, and yeah, been worked and treated me really well. When I was working on the YZ, so same sort of thread for putting internally, the YZ was different. It had the thread on the outside. So I bought this one off eBay. It does both external and like external and internal threading, and the bolt goes in that way or goes in that way depending on what you need to use. You know, good to have a reasonable set of feeler gauges. I like these because they've got the bend in them, which is good for getting under the cam lobes and checking shims. Another handy little thing to have, again, I bought this on, I think I bought this on Temu. It's just like a jet cleaner, and it's got all the different sizes on there. It's been really good for cleaning out carby jets, which was one of the main things wrong with the YZF-250, why it wasn't running. This thing here, this is a little set of tools, or a tool for getting the collets off the valves, and this one with the lump in it, that fits under the head, and you put the valve you want to take out on top of that. And this one here is just hollow in there. Most of the motorcycle ones you can actually just push with the hand. I usually put a bit of rag on my hand and you can push it down, or you can hit it with a hammer, and the hammer vibration jolts the collets out, and you just bang a couple of times, you usually get them right off. And this one here is for putting them back on, so you just sit them in place, and this fits over the valve, and when you push it, it springs in and pushes the collets and clips them down on the valve. So just again a cheap thing off eBay. Again, another cheap thing off Temu, just for lapping in the valves with some valve paste. This here I've had for quite a while, but it's not a big one. But what it's been good for is helping to split the cases. So you know, a bolt and a washer and there, and that over down into the crankshaft shaft, and it just helps you to crack them open. You know, sometimes I think, you know, obviously I would need to get one that covers the crank, the flywheel area, and one that covers the countershaft sprocket area, that's joined together, that can pull the case off more evenly. But it's got the job done, and it's kept me out of trouble. Another good thing to have is like the magnetic stick, because, you know, especially if you drop one of these valve collets in when you're trying to put it in, you can get in there and pick it out. So that's sort of a basic thing. I just want to show you this again. I picked this up off Temu, and let's just set my phone up. So just bear with me a sec while I plug that in. Hang on. Okay, and it's just a little camera, so it's good for, you know, seeing in the dark spots. It's got a area down the side for turning the light up and down. But yeah, that's been you know, pretty good for an example. It does have an adapter on there with a like a mirror, so you can actually screw it on and it'll show you like to the side. But yeah, that's just another little thing that was like, I don't know, maybe $12 Australian on Temu. And for me this was important because I've started doing the wheels, so very similar to, like, I think in America, for example, you get the Tusk brand, very similar to that, but it's been great, it does the job, and yeah, happy with that. So bench grinder, nothing fancy again, just the cheaper Zito brand. I like them because they're cheap and they've just got a good warranty. Put a brass wheel on it, and pretty much that's the only thing I've really used on it. You might sharpen a screwdriver tip or something on there, but yeah, that's good for cleaning, just cleaning up those nuts and bolts where you know, green it all up. And the other thing that I've had is I've got a computer out here that's just connected to the Wi-Fi, and this is good for, you know, bringing up parts manuals, for example. So, you know, it becomes very, very helpful, and I think it's ideal when you're working on the bike to find the parts manual online, and it's going to give you a lot of information. And there's the joys of working in a suburban street out of a garage. So yeah, just as you can see, just that's always very handy, and been very helpful, you know, especially when you're trying to do things like, you know, setting up valve timing and stuff. So, but yeah, that's probably it. Just, you know, all the just other little bits and pieces that you're going to have. Obviously, I think it's great if you can grab yourself a set of T-bars. I got 8, 10, 12 and 14 here. That's been great. And in that, I got the ones that are not solid at the top, so you can turn them and use them like a handle, or use them like a T, and that's been awesome. And again, they weren't like huge, fantastic quality, but they're good enough quality for what I need. Alright, I think that probably covers that. So, but look, thanks for watching again. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful, and hope that, you know, your journey into fixing motorbikes is as rewarding as I find it. So yeah, look, like and subscribe, and yeah, let's keep this going. Thanks.